Hey guys, welcome back to Basic Photography. Today we're going to be talking about your aperture value dial on or mode on your dial. Here it is, aperture value, AV. It could be an A on your dial, it just depends. So what the aperture value on your camera is how fast or how slow the diaphragm on your lens opens and closes to let light in. So we're going to look in our manuals and figure out how to use the aperture value mode on your camera. So AV in the index, don't forget. Page 96 on mine, it'll be different for yours. Okay. So it's going to show me where to find it, like I just showed you. Right here with the AV. When you turn to that dial, everything on your camera is going to work automatically because the camera decides it for you, except for the aperture value. You can decide that for yourself. That is a good mode to be on if you're taking portraits, because when you're taking portraits, you want the subject you're taking a portrait of to be very, very nice and sharp. But you want everything in the back to be blurred a little bit so it's not so distracting. Okay, so now that we found that there, I'm going to show you a chart real quick that shows you the different apertures that you can have on a camera. Okay, now I'm going to set up a little scene for you. This is going to be on a small table. The supplies you're going to need is some game pieces. I used some chess pieces, and also like a measuring tape or a ruler or something. That way we can see focus at a small aperture value as well as a large aperture value, and you can see the difference. Here's the first shot. You can see the chess piece on the right side is focused on about at the 1 foot mark. It has a very short depth of field. This one has a long depth of field. You can see the chess piece on the right is in focus as well as all the other pieces. Here's an example of a shot I took today of a brick wall. It's blurred in the foreground and blurred in the background. So that's what it looked on my viewfinder, and this is the final product here. And that was using aperture value setting. This next one, you can see on the top left, it'll show you what the shutter speed was. And then the 32, that's the f-stop. This is the final product after that. So you can see a lot better than you could on the last picture. So coming up, here are some portraits that I took, and I want you to take notice of the depth of field in these. See, the background isn't totally blurred out on these. There's still a little bit of detail here that I wanted to show, but the model's very sharp. Behind her is not so sharp, but not totally blurred. Okay, here's a good example too. See how the grass in front of this couple is completely blurred, and the trees in black were blurred. Here's an example of a wedding I did, and she wanted the temple she was married in to be in focus along with her. That was important, so it's a long f-stop there. Okay, notice behind this model that the rocks are completely in focus. Also a long f-stop. So I went on a drive today to get some pictures for you guys, and I found this view. It was just beautiful. I took the picture and this was the result. It was awful. I had all of the houses nicely in focus and lit, but it's not what I was going for. I wanted the mountains and the sky. It had been overexposed, and I'll show you, this is what was on my LCD screen. See that black line through my picture? That was blinking. That's because the picture was overexposed there, so it was just pure white, just a blob. So I went ahead and I moved down my exposure compensation 1. So up there at the top of the picture you can see a -1, and my aperture value was at 4.5. and my shutter speed is at 1/1000th of a second. This is the result that I got after I moved down my exposure. A lot better, but still not what I wanted. So I went down and moved it another stop for exposure compensation. That red dot is just where I was focusing. You can see that. Look how beautiful that sky looks now. I can't see the houses, and that's fine because that's not what I was focusing on. So it ended up really, really nice. So there's my blue sky for the day. Kind of sad. So as I was taking my picture and had that beautiful view, guess what drives right in front of me and stops? It was awesome. So I took a picture for you guys because I thought it was kind of funny. I laughed and I drove away because my scene was gone. Okay, I went down to the city, and as you can see, the door to the white building there has red dots on it. That was my focus. The aperture was at 4.5. The shutter speed was at 1/250th of a second. Here's the result of that picture. So the white building again is nice and crisp, and it starts to fade back how much it was in focus. Okay, this is a girl I took a picture of. You can see behind her is completely and totally blurred. The focus of this picture I wanted to take was her eyes, so that is pretty much the only thing that is in focus. The flowers are blurred. Now this has a lot to do with Photoshop and how I artificially blurred it with a Gaussian blur, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so now that you've kind of done a controlled setting using your aperture value mode on your dial, I want you to walk around your house or your yard and kind of tinker with that mode a little bit more. Your homework for today is a really fun one. I want you to go to 10 different people that mean something to you. So this can be friends, family, parents, whoever, people that just mean a lot to you, and I want you to take their picture. It doesn't have to be anything fancy other than taking their portrait. So that means maybe a 3.5 aperture value or a 4, as low as your lens will take you. And your camera will automatically set the ISO and the shutter speed to whatever you need. Okay, so 10 different people that mean something to you, and also 10 scenic views. So this means going for a drive. So you can drive up the canyon to a really, really good lookout, or to a lake where you want to see a big depth of field. Or if you're in the middle of a city, you can go to downtown and take a picture of a large depth of field of down one side of a street or something like that. So 10 good pictures that have a very big depth of view. And then 10 portraits of people that mean a lot to you. So this is probably the funnest one that you'll have, activities. So this is one of my favorites, and I will see you later. Don't forget to download those to your computer once you're done and erasing them off your CF card, so you'll be starting fresh and new for the next lesson. Thanks guys. Bye.